So I'm just going to apologize in advance if you can hear this. I'm not sure you can, but either someone upstairs or next door to me is really pumping out the music right now. So I've got a really nice bass I'm going to. Okay, so let's talk about the Potions Master. You see this face? This is not a happy face, because this is one of the chapters that just aggravates me, and not because of how it's written. Actually, it does a fantastic job for what it is trying to do, but it just, okay. So this is a chapter that we get our sort of more full introduction to exactly what Hogwarts is. It starts off with a very specific, you get a little bit of Harry getting noticed, and then Harry saying he wishes the students would stop because he's trying to figure out how to get to class. And then we get this explanation of the school. It's multiple moving staircases, and it's doors, specifically. And how sometimes you have to tickle a door in the right spot, or sometimes it's not actually a door, but a wall pretending. And then we get the ghosts, again, referred to, and how they pop up, particularly Peeves and his actions. And then we get Filch and Mrs. Norris and their actions. And this is where I start getting frustrated, because this is not how authority should work. While you should respect authority, you should not hate it and you should not fear it. And this is a major problem that we're running into with the police right now. I've seen ads starting to come out about this, asking parents, don't tell your kids we're going to come and arrest them. We don't want them afraid of us. We want them to come to us if there is a problem. And that's exactly not what a lot of these members of the community are doing at Hogwarts in this moment. Filch, is just so angry. And we find out it's because he doesn't have those magical powers. He's just so angry that he gets his hands into kids and just rips them apart, and he doesn't ever once think that maybe they're simply kids and they're simply lost. For example, when Ron and Harry are accidentally trying to get into the third floor corridor. No, they're first year students, they don't know what's going on, and why would they be doing this in broad daylight? They're honest to God lost, and Filch isn't allowing for that. When the students legitimately want to kick a cat, there are some issues that need to be addressed within this school, and they're not being addressed. And then following this, what we actually get is a comparison between McGonagall and Snape. So we get McGonagall in her first class, and I am referring simply to the books here. So we meet McGonagall in her first class, and what she does is she gives a very strict warning to the students. She tells them that transfiguration, it can be a dangerous art. So there's not going to be any messing around in her class. You mess around and you're out. And then what she does is shows them the potential. She turns her desk into a pig and then back again. So right away she says, don't mess with me. Mess with me and I'll take you out. But I can teach you a lot of things. And she shows them that right there. But then start small. And they start with the matchsticks, which they're trying to transfigure into needles. And then she shows a positive example towards the end. This is a good way of doing it. Because it's true, these are dangerous subjects that we're dealing with, so the students have to recognize that this isn't something you can simply play around with. You're going to get in trouble if you screw up. But you can do potentially amazing things if you're willing to listen and learn. Now, Snape starts out like this. He has that lovely discussion he starts with about the subtleties of potion making. And he starts out laying the groundwork. There's not going to be silly wand waving. I could teach you great things, bottle fame, brew glory, beautiful things like that. How he ends that discussion, though, is, if you're not the same dunderheads I usually get. No. No. You do not start a positive environment by insulting everyone there. That doesn't make it positive. That makes it someplace these people don't want to be. Which is a problem, because you're actually then creating the dunderheads that you want to avoid, because you're telling any student who's not automatically perfect right away to not even bother trying. And I hate this because it actually happens. Rowling does a very good job of showing the potentially dangerous situation that a teacher who's not willing to act positively can actually do to students. This has ruined students before. I've gone through this. My very first university year, I had a professor who I'm not going to name, who was like this. If you didn't automatically see it exactly how he saw it, then you were wrong. If he ever asked you any questions, the answer was wrong or the question was rhetorical. That's exactly what he does with Harry. Right away, Snape starts to humiliate Harry in front of the class by asking him questions that he would not know. Hermione knows, but he doesn't ask Hermione. That's because he doesn't want the right answer. He wants to humiliate these students. He does it to Harry by forcing him to answer questions he does not know and to admit he doesn't know them. And he does this to Hermione by ignoring the fact that she knows them and then snapping at her when she tries to answer. I've been in this situation. It is labeled as abuse. And yes, I mean, I've spoken to a professional about this situation because it affected me deeply. And I was in my late teens. I was not 11. This is not okay. And I want people to know that. You're supposed to know it's not okay. It's supposed to be really obvious here. But some people are going to look at that situation and see it as fine. It's not. Don't look at Harry and say he should have read all of these things like Hermione did. No. Harry is not wrong in this situation. Harry looks like his father. And Snape becomes a bully because of it. James and Sirius and Remus and Peter were wrong in how they treated Snape. But that does not excuse Snape from bullying an 11-year-old child. Does not excuse Snape from abusing an 11-year-old child. This is not okay. And the fact that no one is willing to address it is even worse. Harry tells Hagrid these things. Hagrid changes the subject. No. If Hagrid is aware of the fact that James used to bully Snape, and Snape dislikes Harry because Harry looks like James, this should at least be the information that Harry is getting. The fact that you're completely ignoring the situation without either trying to explain it or trying to stop it, and later, and this happens with Harry a lot, telling Harry to deal with it or to keep his head down, like with Umbridge. No, that is victim blaming. That is pointing to Harry and saying something is wrong with his actions, which there's not. There was something wrong with his father's, and there is something wrong with the professors in this moment. Harry is doing nothing here. It's even worse when you know the message that Snape is telling Harry within the first question. What would I get if I added powdered root of asphodel to an infusion of wormwood? Basically, one of these plants is a lily, and one of these plants is a sign of regret. What Snape is saying within this question is that he deeply regrets the death of Lily by bullying and abusing her 11-year-old son. I know we learn a lot of things about this character as we go through, but that does not change how he's acting in this moment. Nor does it change the fact that Harry actually becomes very suspicious of Snape through the entire series, simply because no one is willing to talk to him or try and deal with this moment. It's not for several books that he finds out what actually happened between Snape and his father. And Harry himself, I'm pretty sure, even at this point in time, would agree his father was wrong and that his father was a bully. But he's not getting this information. He is left completely in the dark and being bullied. And you wonder why he has a bit of a problem with authority issues. And you wonder why he keeps thinking it's Snape that's doing all of this. The fact that you're not giving this kid the information he needs, and it's affecting his schooling. If you want to claim that you're not giving him all of this information because he should be a kid for a little more and focus on his school, guess what? That's not going to happen. Because he's not in a positive learning environment, and no one will tell him why. I have a problem with this chapter. And I think I have a problem for it for all the reasons that everyone should have a problem with this chapter. I've got an eye on you, Snape. I'm watching you. And if you yourself have been or are in a situation like this, it's not okay. And it's not your fault. No matter the reason that person gives to you, if you are legitimately trying to learn, and you're legitimately trying to live and be comfortable and learn things, and that person is not letting you, talk to somebody. Somebody will listen to you. It might be kids your age, it might be someone older, it might be somebody in a position to help you. Find that person. Because no one deserves to be treated like this.